So yeah, there. Now we're live.
Yeah,
so we're back. We're back. You can tell
Hey!
I am not in the same costume
Yeah.
from last week. I don't know what happened there. I truly 100% do not know what happened.
You know what
And
happened?
we're just
They probably rolled back their tea, guy.
yeah.
They're like, whoa,
Oh,
hippie, triceratops. There's a female voice. Whoa, gotta take this off the air.
Definitely. I can see that, and probably maybe that's part of the situation we had there. But guess what? We stand. Nope,
No.
not happening.
No.
We stand on
This
that.
is America.
We're with Costco.
We had one viewer, and they were like, "Nope, we're not flipping over with you."
Well, you know what?
They were like, "That's a hard
They
pass."
might have had the same problem. They might have. To be honest with you, I believe this is what happened. I think you know who I'm talking about. I think he took us off, and anybody that was listening to us, because I think there's a big conspiracy that they're trying to keep us quiet because they
Dude.
don't like.
You don't have to fear Al Roker. He's not that scary.
That's
Really?
what.
Did he really? Dude, I would feel terrible.
No, it's terrible. Al Roker.
No, he did not. I'm looking it up right now, dude.
Yeah.
He did not.
Hey, then we're here. Yeah. I'm not.
He did not.
He did not.
Okay, my bad.
He is. That's what
He got new glasses.
he got new
No,
glasses.
he lost like
Man,
half of his body.
Another white man can't tell the difference between one black guy and another.
Oh,
Wow.
wow! I didn't say that. I said I know who Al Rocker was. I know he does the weather.
My favorite is when he does the 100-year-old letters.
Oh, the birthdays.
Yeah.
No, I used to love sick days.
Did
Like-
you watch Good Morning America back in the day when it was good?
Yep, and then it was
Pre-sexual abuse allegations, all the shit.
Price is Right. Yeah,
Bob Barker.
yeah, Bob Barker back
He
in the
was-
day.
All the sexual abuse
Yeah.
allegations.
No.
He was probably doing it for long.
Oh yeah, no, he
But you
whatever.
know what?
Uh,
He made sure dogs and cats got spayed.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, 'cause
um
they run around like crazy now.
then what was after that one? I don't remember, but then it was the news, and then
Let's make a deal.
it was grandma's turn to
Days of
watch
Our
her
Lives.
stories.
General
Yeah.
Hospital.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
she
the
had to
stories
watch
were-
her stories, so it's time for you to take your nap. Like you go quit bothering me for 2 hours.
Take didn't
Do you
that
remember the Bozo show?
I do.
Yeah.
I never got to be on the
That was
Bozo
like
show.
the tail end of probably our childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
A little more
WGN.
like centralized
Yeah.
for yours, but-
WGN.
Chicago. Yep. I believe I was the first generation of like mass cartoons.
Yeah, probably.
Like when like it shifted from Saturday morning cartoons to there being cartoons all the
Networks.
time.
Yeah, networks like Nickelodeon. Back when that was
Yeah.
the only cartoons.
Yep.
Well,
Cartoon
here's the thing.
Network.
It was constant. Yeah.
You had constant cartoon on PBS always.
Yeah.
Like you had certain,
In
like,
the
not all the
daytime.
time, but like yeah, it's something that they've always. I just want to credit them for like
Yeah.
what they've
It
all.
was Sesame Street.
Sesame Street, the whole thing.
Yeah,
There was
yeah,
always something
yeah.
because it
Reading
wasn't
Rainbow.
always.
Not cartoons, but just kid-centric programs.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that wasn't always a character theme. It was Sesame Street was, but then there was a
Yeah,
bunch of other,
yeah.
you know, Curious George and whatever else might have been. You know,
Or
so-
even pre Sesame
yeah.
Street
well,
Electric Company.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Pre-Sesame Street.
and then
Uh, What was it?
who-
Schoolhouse Rock.
Yes,
and then
yes.
Yeah.
who and then can you tell
Magic
me?
School Bus.
Can you tell me the conductors, the narrators, the conductors on Thomas the Train, the two at different times?
George Carlin and Ringo Starr.
Very good.
Boom.
Very
Trivia night for
good.
the
Very
win.
good. Very good.
I didn't know that.
Yes. yes.
I'm not too proud to admit that I had no idea.
It's
I-
okay. It's okay. We're here to help you.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I want to be one of those people who hates on Ringo, and I'm like every time I hear about him, like
You know what?
he just
He-
doesn't want to bother anybody.
Listen,
like
he
he's
was
so
my
much like
gateway
me.
into drummers, okay?
Yeah,
is-
that's it too. I'm like he's one of those people where I'm like,
Here's
no,
the thing.
why do people hate him?
Here's the thing. A lot of people pick on his drumming and everything.
Yeah.
And as a drummer myself, I say, if you think he's such an easy drummer to copy and everything, then
Do it.
Do it. Yeah, then straight up do it.
Yeah, because his thing, the reason his style is unique, kind of somewhat is, he's left-handed, but yet his kit is set up like right-handed. So when he goes to do, for instance, and come together, the role that he's doing, he's starting on the floor tom and working up to the high tom. So it's a backwards feel that he's doing, where you would normally do it the opposite way. It's coming the opposite. So that's the reason it's a unique.
I do have to say, like I
so it's little things like that, you know, how he would start, and he did because it's quicker.
I've always had an appreciation for drummers, but never understood some of the technicalities.
Yeah. Well, yeah, just
Joe's taking the time to teach me something.
Where they hit, how
but
they
I've always
hit,
appreciated like
what
the
they
drum
hit with,
sound and how it carries the song or doesn't. Or I mean, there's some songs where it just makes the difference of the type of drummer you have. But anyway, that's a whole nother side.
Yeah, when I went to Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp,
I did too, Justin, for trumpet.
Trombone.
Reception for the win.
Hold on.
Probably there around the same
99
no,
and
that's
2000.
That's when I graduated.
Okay.
So I was there at like 93.
Okay.
I had to get a scholarship for it though because we were poor.
Oh, I did too. I got the scholarship. It was great though. I loved it. I went a few years. I did. It was so fantastic. Yeah. So you know what I'm about to say. That there was
of this show. Went to that school.
Dude, it was cool. It was really cool. It was like,
that's awesome, guys.
It's where
I suck as a human.
it's where I touched my first boob.
Oh,
I love that place, man. I love that place.
I thought you were going divine.
No, it's fantastic. Like I can't talk about that place and not get happy.
That's awesome.
But so you had the
one time at band camp.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, yeah, let me tell you about this.
Okay, anyway.
But no, so the percussion would always practice alone. The drummers would always practice by themselves because it's so unique. It's so different. It's such a different thing. Yeah. So it is its own creature.
Yeah. Well, Ringo for me, it's like I used to say this. Like he's so simple. He's such a simple drummer.
Yeah.
That he's kind of shit to be honest. So when I think of drummers, I personally I listen for the complex sounds that I can pick out and the technical skill. And Joe's like, no, Erica, you're not doing it the credit that you should.
Yeah.
And so that goes back to Joe's point of like, if you're not a drummer, it's hard to see that stuff. Because you just go, the beats are from an audio standpoint, it's the beats are pretty simple. But then when you take into account timing, because as Joe says, it's harder to not make the beat or the sound than it is to make it. You have to have your timing on point.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to be on time.
The quiet,
right?
The space between is vital. And so the longer I'm with a drummer, I recognize those things. But I used to, I've been a lifelong Beatles fan.
Yeah.
I just have always loved them. Part of it is the catchy poppy sound. Part of it is this legacy that they've left. Part of it is this combination of all these different styles that came together to make this music.
How can you use the exact same instrument to play 100 different styles, like jazz to big band to rock and it's the same thing.
Well, and that's taking these little secrets again because
exactly that's the idiosyncrasy.
You take little kitchen napkins, basically cover the drum. Then that gives you a whole another different tone. Where they would do that in a studio setting too. And sometimes
I remember it was like 98, 97 or 98. And I went to my first metal show.
Who was it?
Mudvayne.
Oh, okay.
And he had a double bass drum.
Like,
he had, he worked each one with his. I'm like, oh, seriously, in awe of this. I had never even fathomed that he could use two drums instead of a hi-hat or something. I was like. I just watched him the whole time. And Mudvayne is a spectacle.
Yeah.
They are running around stage, but I'm watching the drummer the whole time because he's just intense. Yeah. As much as they're in motion, your eye is drawn to him. Yeah. The man sitting still. And it's just that's the power of being exceptional.
Yeah.
But my friend, my first neighbor when I moved into Kalamazoo, I was on the third floor. He was on the second. And he used to shred. constantly Pantera,
Okay.
and he just just be ripping and ripping and ripping. And I'm like, finally, I'm like, whatever. I'll go meet this dude, and I meet him. I'm like, "Are you in a band?" He's like, "No," and I'm like, "Oh, well, why don't you do a band and stuff?" He's like,
I only know Pantera.
He's like, "I can't read music." And I'm like, "Wait." He's like, I'm like, "Okay." He's like, I can kind of tune my guitar and I can play like riffs and stuff." I'm like, "So why don't you learn?" And he was like, "No, man, that's all I want to do." And that's all he wanted to do. He just
I
wanted to
love
jam
that. I
out.
love
Like,
that.
I was like, huh.
I found my zone.
Yeah, I'm like, I wish I was that accepting
Yeah.
of myself. He was like, you know what?
That's because some people say, Eddie Van Halen was the Mozart of our time, and he never.
Yeah.
Dude, he was not the Mozart. But
Some people say.
some people are idiots.
This is true.
I mean,
I think he has talent.
Oh, he has great talent.
I mean,
Dude,
there's
Okay.
there's elements of things we don't understand that he helped invent along to help
Yeah.
guitar go
Sure.
a different
he
level.
helped it
to where
progress.
that
Yes.
maybe without him making that, and that's the reason I can't say this either. I just know what I've heard from that.
Yes.
And it's been guitar players that have said that. So as a drummer, I don't go, no, I tell you, I override what you
Who
think.
makes the
I
best
go,
drum?
I go,
Well, Joe
it
will
just-
tell you it's Tom.
and it depends on
It's
who
a
you're.
personal preference.
It depends on who, because there's the old school Ludwig kit from the 1965, 68, 69. Those are priceless, but the Ludwig kits, the
Mhm.
Vista Light,
Mm.
that like they're really expensive kit, and everything. Those really have a unique, really
Sound,
freaking
yeah.
sound too. So it's almost like a board, and old speakers and certain things where the way they sound, it's
Mhm.
just it's hard to.
It translates to
replicate
everything
that,
though,
you know?
because it'd be like asking you, Justin, whose has the best artistic style comically? Like when you look at your comic books, who has the best
Joe.
artistic style?
Joe
Thank you.
Mama.
Oh,
But I'm just saying,
No,
right? Like no, because it depends on the era, it depends on the characters,
and that's
and it's the same for instruments. Because like I
Yeah.
think about it in the artistic world of like who makes the best paintbrush? Well, what are you doing with it?
yeah.
What paints are you
Yeah.
using?
What
What are
size
you trying to
canvas,
achieve?
right.
So there isn't a solid one answer.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're doing.
What's
But Joe's brand preference.
okay?
is
That, I
Tom.
guess that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
it's Tom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's because back in the day when I was growing up, I love Ozzy, man. Like Randy Costello was his drummer, and I just remember going, "Holy cow!" Because again, it was his like the heartbeat that like he had like this tribal drumming. He's from New Mexico, and he had this like
Yeah, and he's Native American.
yeah, and
so-
it's just ground like I don't know. It's just that his playing just went to my soul, and so
my head was hot. It was the. I'll put him back on in a
I
I
just
second.
just
My
like
le-
it's something not working.
no, my
Sorry.
levels
that
are my
was-
levels are perfect. That's why I was like, I'll just take it off. I don't need them in.
that was kind of the person that kind of
Inspired you.
yeah. So and
That's
he
my-
played Tama, and so that was the part where like okay, I'll go with that, and then I went into a music store and I tried them out, and I was like, okay, and so then I was like, all right, and so I went back a couple of days later.
I'll share a funny little fact if you want.
Yeah.
So my two big kids' dad
Mhm.
is a drummer.
Mhm.
He is exclusively. I mean, I didn't know I had a type until I knew I had a type.
It's
Right?
like, dang, you're not gonna throw a bassist in there, or
No, apparently I'm all about the drummers. They got good rhythm. So he was exclusively Yamaha drums.
Yeah.
And I do say they make a damn good motorcycle.
that's the only trombone I played was the Yamaha.
And my
so
trumpet
yep.
was a Yamaha
Yep.
also.
I'm-
And so I was like, oh, I can relate to this.
Yep.
They make a good instrument. They're
Yeah.
precise, all the things.
Yeah.
And my point to saying this is he's exclusively Yamaha. And believe it or not, Joe and my ex have played many gigs together, opening for each other at a lot of
You
places.
dog.
And so and actually, they're friends. They're friends. So it's great. It's a wonderful symbiosis. Like
Yeah.
we got this great thing happening or whatever. But it makes more sense that whoever is opening to just leave their kit up, right? Instead of tearing down a whole kit, putting up a new kit, especially with drums. Like, let's face it, if you're married to a drummer or you're dealing with a drummer, like freaking A, there's a lot of work to be done about moving in gear and moving out gear. So they just usually leave whoever's gear is up, whoever's opening. So I've watched them both play on both kits
Yeah.
at gigs. I've watched them both, and they do have very different drumming styles. But the god dang drums sound the exact effing same.
Yeah, that's
every time.
that's
It's
it.
the style.
That's a good sound, man.
Yeah.
No, that's a good sound, man. Locking in the drums. And
Dude.
and then that's part of like
I can
you
tell
gotta
you.
show up at times. You can't always carry your stuff with you or have it with you. So sometimes you gotta play on something you're not familiar with.
Yeah, and that's
So-
like you are definitely a drummer, man, because like our first show, I was like, man, I hear a hum and I hear like a pitch, and you're like, I don't hear anything. And I'm like, dude, you're not listening. And like we found out that we had a loop on and stuff, and you're just like, oh. It's like so I totally get it. Like, but when you have to tune an instrument like an orchestra setting, you learn how to like block things out and really tune in on specific
your
sounds.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, so it's different.
Yeah.
But I've never been able to keep tempo by myself. Like it was hard for me to practice at home.
You need
Things
other
like
people
the
to help keep you pace.
metronome,
Yeah.
the pace, the recording something, because it was something that was just beyond me. I can tune myself. I don't even
Yep.
need instruction on, actually playing. It was just the tempo. It was
Yeah.
always tempo for me. And the
Marching band was tough for me for that very
Yeah.
reason. Like it took
Yeah.
me it was a hurdle for that
Yeah.
very reason. Of paying attention to the steps
Yep.
and playing the music at the same time. I excelled at the music piece, but the steps, which was the beat, was very difficult for me for that very reason. Like I have so much appreciation for drummers now that I didn't have previously. Uh, it takes so much skill and talent to pay attention to beat,
Mhm.
but also give it a flair and also give it the empty space and do all of these things at the same time. It's just amazing to me that people can do it. And I go, wow, I'm so in awe by it.
We did marching band and we did competitions.
Sure.
And we traveled all around, and we did pretty well. We were in Division 2 in Allegan, and there were 2 trombones. Yeah, in this giant band. And we got placed. I'm not
And your
saying that
part came up.
I'm not saying that like this person didn't know what they were doing, but they put me on one side of the formation and the other trombone on the other side of the formation, and directly in front of the quad drums. So like
you got drowned.
there was no trombone in any of it. But what I did appreciate was the quad drums. Like these people were just marching and like they were laser focused. They were just like they were going. And then that same year, Drumline came out.
Oh yeah.
And we went as a band and saw that, and like the whole percussion was just like they waved us over, like us and the tuba,
Yeah.
the people that were right in front of them. They were like, "You can't hear nothing, and you guys never complain. Come sit with us." And I was like, "Oh, it's nice to be included." Yeah, I was just like, "All right, cool," because like we never did complain. Because it's like, man, you can't play any quieter,
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so in a band like that, you have to have a lot of drums. So
Well, I think that's the thing with a drum is like most of the time you think drums beat, hammer it out, get your aggression out, and like I mean it's proven in so many different ways it's good for you to just drum in general, regardless of your abilities or anything. But there's also that ability once you decide, oh, I'm gonna go down this journey a little bit. It's kind of becoming you heard it, but one with something, but kind of becoming one with a drum kit.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's like you feel it instead of
Yeah.
think it.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
like it's
yeah.
and then to just even around a high tom, there's different tones you can get just on that
Yeah.
10-inch tom,
Yeah.
not let alone the other ones that are
Yeah.
involved or the snare or anything, but just so it becomes I don't know. It's just it's a neat I don't know. It's just part of my being. So it's hard
You
to
said you
explain.
grew up loving Ozzy, and I did too.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
gosh.
No, just such a big part of my
Yeah.
life because of Black Sabbath and
Yeah.
rebellion for
Yeah.
me. Like I wasn't allowed to listen to a lot of music, but
Oh, that makes me
I
so
had my
great.
no, it's okay. It was
Well,
religious and everything else, but
my mom went through my Ozzy cassette and read the lyrics, and she comes in the room. I remember it like it was crystal clear. She comes in the room and she says,
What does he mean
"You
by this?
know, huh?
Yeah, what does he mean by this?
No,
What does
he
this
said,
mean?
you know, it's not that bad." He says he got a song that says "Thank God for the bomb," and
Mhm.
it's like, yeah. I was like, I can't believe all what they're saying. I was like, like, so my mom went through some
Yeah.
of this stuff, but I think she was just trying to be a good parent,
Yeah.
kind of, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like,
Yeah.
I also, my mom, like when I was, 15, uh, I went with some people to see Ozzy in a whole different state than when I was
Ah,
there. And
I
and
always wish I
and
had that when I
and
was a kid. Like,
and
yeah.
and my mom totally like didn't stand not that she would have stopped, but like
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about it at that point. Like, so and then Ozzy and Anthrax opened up for him. And
Ah,
so like I'm the
I
man,
love
I'm the man, I'm
Anthrax.
the
Oh
man.
I love
Yeah,
Anthrax.
so before Antisocial, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so they were early, and so
So I do.
so
I really appreciate Ozzy. I appreciate everything he did. I was around for Randy Rhoads.
yeah.
I was, it was great.
Young though. Young.
Yeah.
Kid.
But
Yeah.
the one that always like none of my parents could complain. My
Yeah.
grandparents, everybody, they found out, who he actually was Prince.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I
Yeah.
found out just how smart he was.
Yeah, he
He
was amazing.
he would
Man.
go around the whole stage and play every instrument.
Yeah.
He'd pick up the
Yeah.
drum and he'd just play the drums for 2,
Yeah.
3 songs, play the piano, play the cello, play and I'm like,
Yeah.
you
Talk
know,
about Prodigy or like a Mozart of our
yeah,
time.
it blew my
He's
mind.
pretty well up there
Yeah,
for sure
Yeah.
in terms of intelligence, the technical know-how of instruments on top of the creativity, right? Because there's those two things are kind of separate. Yeah, he was pretty much a master, I think, at what
Yeah.
he chose to do.
And there's some people like that were just I'm like, there's the thing about the boss that can do every job. Like, let me show you that I'm willing to get my hands dirty. It shows enough care, and there's certain conductors that have done that in the past
Yeah.
where they're like,
Yeah.
I really commit to learning this solo with you and things like that. And I think that's important. But yeah, Prince to me was just like, I didn't actually like his music that
Right, but you
much.
can appreciate
Like, yeah, I love like
Incredible guitar
especially playing
player.
an instrument yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time changes,
Yeah.
it was the first time I listened to an album and it wasn't like a story. It didn't have like a progressive flow to the
Right.
whole album. I couldn't follow it.
Right.
Prince was just so artistic about his music and it
Right.
made me think.
Yeah.
Like and so
Which I
that
think it did its job then.
yeah, exactly. And that's what was my first obsession with music was I couldn't figure him out.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was just like, I don't get it. And then he changed his name when I was like a preteen, and I was like,
Yeah, to the symbol.
what?
Yeah.
I was like,
Formerly known
what?
as-
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
wait, what?
yeah.
Why would you do that, dude? Like, what's the
Yeah.
point of that?
Right.
That had to cost money.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't afford a new He-Man. Like, can you just out there changing your name and stuff, dude?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
I think a lot of people probably don't know about Frank Zappa. Frank
Yeah,
Zappa
well,
was
timing wise, right? Like for the generations
Well,
today.
of just what I mean by that is that he would write everything out for the whole complete band, and just they come in and he would hand you a sheet of music and say play that.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like, so that's just something like because there's certain people that kind of are able to channel that or have that ability, but um, and not everybody wants to be raised in dental floss in Montana. And so, like,
Yeah.
and so it's not for everybody, but at the same time,
But that's the thing, though. Like, can you read music?
no,
But I can.
yeah,
But could I play an improv
Mm.
beat? Absolutely not. But I can read sheet music
I wish I
until the
could
sun comes
beatbox.
down. Even to this day where I haven't picked up an instrument in years, I
Right.
can still
Mm.
read that music.
right.
And you can't.
Yeah.
And that's the artistry and the talent behind that is he can't. Are you picking me up on that?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll be quieter.
No, that's what I'm doing right now. I think I'm gonna. I think we are when I get back from. I keep calling it vacation. That's what it is to me. I was supposed to go with my regional supervisor, and they bailed on me. And then the person who got me into Smart was supposed to go with me, and then he
Then they bailed.
canceled.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh, that's kind of
okay,
familiar. That's
cool.
why I met Joe.
Yeah. So
All bailed.
it was. It's just bail, whatever. And
That makes good.
oh, I do too. I lost my
It's,
train of
it's the
thought.
next big step.
Oh yeah, dude. So but music. I like this topic because you're doing your music class next week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to come out and check it out.
Yeah, what?
I'll share this with me myself. Growing up, my father
Mhm.
is musical.
Yes.
Plays bass guitar.
Thank
really
you for
sings.
the picks. I'm working
Oh,
on a
yeah,
case
the
for that
sticks. Yeah,
still.
yeah, just-
I still I have them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So he would take me to the wherever they were playing, and their drummer Alan Nettles would let me kind of sit behind the kid a little bit. So that was kind of oh, okay, I want to do this, and then I'll say this as far as because I love drums. That's my passion and everything, but I love harmony.
Mhm.
Mm.
Acapella style, even with
Mm.
music, but acapella music.
Mhm.
And so I'll contribute
Mhm.
this to my dad's parents, and they were real religious, and so I'd hear a lot of gospel music, Dixie
Yeah.
Boys and all this stuff, and so his instruments in their church were bad, so it was really your voice, and that's kind of how you play. So uh, there was that aspect of the music. My other grandparents didn't really listen to music in that light or anything, have any kind of. So I didn't really. It wasn't a yay or nay or anything. It was just contrast, I guess. But my dad's side, particularly, there was a strong uh, music uh, uh, bone or foundation for a
Mhm.
period, and I don't know if that's going to transfer over into my offspring. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like to where this might be the end of it, to where because
I don't think so.
I think I don't either. But my grandparents, uh, they would go and sing in historic old churches that were just nobody there,
Yeah.
and they would just sing praise and everything. So this whole and so this whole thing, and so music's it's a weird thing because I got such a religion is just horrible in my eyes. If you have thoughts and prayer for me, thank you. I appreciate it. I take that wholehearted. But I have nothing really. It's just, but my music being such a core of my being, it's weird how its foundation kind of roots
from that.
in
Religion.
Well,
church religious music, kind of in that sense.
I
Even though,
think music is as primary as all art forms.
Yeah.
It was a way to tell stories. It was a
Yeah.
way to remember before we had written word, to pass things down. So it's important. And it's important I think it's important to know where you come from, especially in the arts. So yeah, it has a purpose. If it be whether it be protest songs, whether it be
Morning.
mourning, whether it be happy, whether it
Mhm.
be a celebration, so those are important things to hold on to. You don't have to be Taylor Swift to sing a song. Karaoke is a form of the art. It's music is so important. It doesn't have unfortunately, I let it end in high school. I didn't have a passion for it once I left high school.
Well, I'm hoping one of these days,
Yeah,
we'll
I
have some.
have it. I
We'll have
have
some.
it. I
And we'll
know.
pull out some more because I got to get Erica an old school situation
Yeah.
where she
I
can.
said,
But so
I want to get
so
the trumpet back.
and
Let's
I,
do
and
it.
That's
Yeah.
very good.
All right.
Yeah,
I was
and-
just
I was
not quite
too.
care
Uh,
for years.
well,
I
there's
found my box of solo and ensemble medals, and I cleaned up my mom's house, and it was full. And I was like, "Jeez,
well,
like,
this
yeah,
is one of those things because not to, but like just the people I've run into through music
yeah,
since we moved here 2 years ago.
Mhm.
It's pretty incredible. It's a
Yeah.
wide variety of people, but it's pretty incredible. But also, I will say this: there's some musicians that are just it's a little more uh, where they are in their life, and music might be that space where things really come together for them. And so to have that avenue where you're part of that too, uh, when you're really trying to be in the moment where a lot of shit's happening, it's horrible around you, and the world's spinning like crazy. And so sometimes to see those things and have appreciation where
It's another language.
yeah,
it's so amazing to
Yeah.
see the different ways that people were taught. I was taught in school. That was the only avenue I had to music. My family owned, a business. They were busy.
Yeah.
We weren't, we sang and everything. We were bad, all that. We did all that crap. Uh, but in school, I was allowed to play my instrument stuff, and I had the structure, the practice, the read the music, the
Mhm.
cues, to follow the conductor. And then 8th grade, they were like, "All right, here's jazz."
Boom.
Forget
All
all of
bets are
that.
out. Yeah.
They were
All
like,
bets are off.
"Forget
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
you learned. Like, it just play." And I was just like, "What do
What
you
do I
mean?"
do?
I
Yeah.
could not wrap my head around
But I
it.
think that's where you and I are similar in that way. Like
Yeah.
I need that structure, even though I'm a very creative person, not in that format.
Yep.
And that's the difference
And so
between a
that's
drummer
that's why I went to
and a
Blue
regular
Lake. I
musician.
went for jazz,
Right.
and I had to learn how to improvise. Like, I could not just
Yep.
improvise. I was like, "No, no, no, you have to spell it out for me. I'm dumb."
where did I go from here? You
Yeah.
got to tell me.
Well, no, like, and they were like, "Okay,
Yeah.
so what?"
Yeah.
Like, it's about like the key you're
Yeah.
in, and it's about the tempo, and
Yeah.
it's about
Trading licks.
learn how to
Yeah.
make repeatable habits out of like a triplet or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. And I was like, "Oh, that's all it is." I was like, "I can do that. Why
Yeah.
didn't you
Yeah.
just tell me
Give me a
that?"
little structure, please.
Yeah,
Just a tiny bit. Yeah.
because I was like playing sharp when I was supposed to be playing flat. And
Flats.
yeah, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. So I always find it fascinating. Uh, like my neighbor never could read. He was just like, "No, man, I watched MTV and I did what they did." I'm like, you should learn how to read music, dude.
But
You're
that's a feeling
phenomenal.
that's a feeling musician.
Yeah.
Which, my husband is that way, where he doesn't know how to read music. He wasn't ever trained.
Yep.
He does everything solely on feel.
Yep.
And frankly, I think they have an advantage.
Yeah. Oh,
I do.
ditto.
Because we're limited by if it doesn't tell me what to do on this very next measure, I don't know what to do. And somebody like Joe who has the feeling behind it, like just let me feel this, man, and I'll get right in there and I'll do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage to me.
It's funny you
The
say-
perfect drummers or the perfect musicians, period, are the ones that can do both.
Yeah.
But that's a really rare breed.
It's funny you say because Bob said in one of the songs, play it to go to the chorus, bridge. Go what? He goes, just really want to play that. I go, well, I just play it because it sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no thing
Rules.
telling me
Yeah.
that I shouldn't do, even though like I have an idea how things flow. I'm not compelled to not try. Like
Yeah.
especially when you're writing something
Yeah.
that's original and you're playing it and that's where you went to and it's like okay that makes sense. But then I said, well, what should I do? And he goes, well maybe this or this and this and I'm like, I'll just play it the way I downloaded it because, like,
See,
It feels better.
when we play it in a band setting,
Yeah.
and you play it way you want, Bob.
Yeah.
And I'll play
Yeah, yeah.
drums with it. But when I play it, like if I'm playing solo gig, then I'm gonna play it the way I wrote it. So
Right.
like, and
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, it
Okay.
works.
Yeah.
So, like,
So
But-
I that's what took me so much to so it was so hard to understand about jazz was I was like, I can be part of the group.
Yeah.
I can lead. I can't do both. I can't like seamlessly weave in and out
Yeah.
of like
you can't wait for
around
your turn.
Because
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
weird.
structure.
the rounds and the
How to know
improvisation
when it comes
and
back
stuff and
without.
like yeah, it was very difficult for me,
All right, that's 16. Okay, now I'm
especially
back.
because our jazz group was only 7 people and we did not have a conductor. We went by the drums. Like, and he was sitting behind us, and it was like no cues, and it was
Yeah.
just they were like, "No, you need to learn how to feel the music," and I'm
Like,
like,
no,
"I
man.
don't know what you mean."
Yeah. You will by the end of this school year.
I did too, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was intense. I mean, it wasn't like whiplash intense or anything, but they were like, "No, man, like we're not. You'll eventually get it, or
Yeah.
you just
Well,
you can't
Yeah,
you
well,
can't
yeah.
do it."
The music should be that thing where it hits you, where you have to figure it out.
Yep.
That's what I mean. Like, I kind of self-taught myself guitar because I wanted to know to write music. It's hard to write on drums, especially
Sure.
something you hear certain parts in your head. And so sitting there and kind of figuring it out and everything, you're like, oh, okay. And
Yeah.
you get to a point where it's little progress that you make and everything, but it's ultimately the whole thing with the music and everything is it's such a release and it's such a place to kind of
Yeah.
for all levels of just you never know what release that is and what you have inside of you.
You know, if
Sometimes you
if
go
I
through that.
had the confidence as a kid I do today, I think I could have like really been a good musician.
yeah.
Right.
Like, but my inhibitions always held me back with my music. So I think about that a lot too. I'm like, like not regret or anything.
Yeah,
I'm just
but
like,
wonder,
I'm glad I've grown as a person. Just being like, okay, I don't care anymore. I'll dress up as a dinosaur. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Right.
I don't care. I'm not changing. I'm
Yeah.
going home like this.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the neat things is it's one thing as a musician, right?
Yeah.
Just get the crowd. I think another aspect that we rarely talk about that I find is if you happen to have the luxury of being a songwriter for a group
Yeah.
that is successful.
Yeah.
And then you're able to, in that time, go out into the crowd and sit there and kind of hang out amongst the crowd and watch someone go.
Your words resonate
And
with
watch-
every person. They
Yeah.
have no idea.
And someone looks to you and goes, you
Isn't
know,
it
what,
so good?
you know what they wrote the song about, right? And he goes, what?
Yeah.
And they have no clue that's Robert Hunter that wrote these
Yeah.
songs. And so, like, it's that part of like that's another aspect of of music and
Sure.
is
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. Like, I know what hearing a crowd respond to something you've created that you're on, not just a cover. I know that feeling, but I'll probably never. Who knows? At this point, I don't have that luxury of being able to hear something that I created that somebody else is doing in front of a crowd where I'm in the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
Until that happens for me, I can only imagine what that feeling
Yeah.
happened. You know what I'm saying?
Here's
Because
the
like
other thing, though,
that's
like-
a whole nother level of shit.
Here's the other thing is that a lot of people
That's
are
deep,
divided
man.
into two. Of like,
Yeah.
I'm a lyrics
deep.
person and I'm a music person. And so, like, what strikes you first? The sound of the song or the words of the song? Like, most people fall into one or the other category. And so that notion of appreciating those lyrics and those words and like you
I'm a
can be
sound guy.
anonymous in that way. Well, most people are.
I
think
am,
a lot
I
of
am.
people are. And you can sit there and listen to that. And God, does that take so much talent? Because let's face it, I got a lot of words, but I can't put them in any kind of order that makes somebody go, wow. Like
I
that's
did
just the
the-
reality. And most of us are that way.
I did the conscious thing of listening to actual songs, and most songs are terrible.
Sure.
Like, no, they're about really raw subjects. When you actually break them down and listen to them, and it's just like, oh,
Death.
And they
Born in the
Love.
USA
Yeah.
is awful.
And usually the first and the last chorus usually repeat.
Yeah.
The verses, excuse me. And so you usually have 3 sets of verses. So you have that.
There's structure
So-
to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
It's like, okay, so technically you're right.
So that was our master class on music, apparently.
Yeah,
I don't know how
This
that
is
got off
great.
the
Like,
rails.
we focused on that for the last half.
Yeah.
but,
What
you know.
what is the game of the night?
Oh, you were
Oh.
supposed to come up with that. Watts.
You forgot. Do you want to put it on
Totally
hiatus
forgot.
until I get back?
Well, it just came in hot.
No. Okay, so we're gonna put
I
game
was gonna
night
say
on hiatus.
Hangman, but we can't really play Hangman.
Why not?
It's hang person, okay?
Why can't you play Hangman? Just how about this? Best of one and call it done.
But how do we?
No.
Okay, we'll put it on hiatus.
Yeah.
We could do it. I
Yeah.
could be the mediary.
I-
Okay,
We'll wait. We'll
we'll
wait
do
till
this.
Justin
We'll do
comes
this to build
I-
up the hype. To build up
Okay.
the hype. We'll be back next week for the show. Erica and myself will be. But in 2 weeks from now, okay, we will have a battle of the games.
Okay.
And
I'm
we will
down.
have not one contest. We will have 2
Oh wow.
games
Wow.
Mm,
to play.
Checkers.
okay.
Checkers is a good one.
I am a bad checkers player.
Okay.
That's not
Checkers.
bolstering. Like I'm not good
Checkers.
at checkers.
And
It's
And I want to get the checkerboard thing, the little paper, SOS.
I don't know what that is.
SOS
You
is.
just make an S, and
Are you talking about the dot game?
Huh?
Are you talking about the dot game where you connect the dots, all the dots
No.
together, and you have to create a box?
No, you do. There's already square boxes on thing. You just write an S, and you try to get SOS.
Yeah. Sorry. The rule is you can't have to teach the other player, so that's out. You're gonna have to come up with something else.
I have no idea what
I
you're
don't know what
talking
he's talking about
about.
either,
I
so
have never
I'm
heard
just
of this.
following the rules because this is what I'm really
Was
good
this-
at. I follow rules.
Was this back when you used to push hoops with sticks and chase after them?
This is a game you
No,
I'll
neither
play
of us
it.
know what the
You
fuck
know
you're
what?
talking about.
No, I will. I don't care. I don't care. I will. And do
To
you?
live from Joe's
Sorry for the
basement.
F-bomb, but-
Where
No,
are
no,
the
we
snacks?
should put your name on there. You can get in on the games. I never said you couldn't. This
No.
isn't my dictatorship.
Listen, I
I'm
want
not
to stay
Trump.
married, so
Uh,
I'm not competing.
That's a
against
good
my
idea.
husband.
That's a good
This is
idea.
not-
We'll play
how this works.
Hangman and checkers in
Hey.
2 weeks. We'll have the words.
No, no.
I can be
Now-
the
now
third
here-
party hangman
here-
puzzle
here's-
maker.
You can
Here's
tell
the
word,
rub.
yeah.
Here's the rub.
No, there's not.
Yeah, but it's gonna be best. It's gonna be 3, and we're gonna play best of 3
Each
wins.
game.
No. 1 game each, and the third game is Connect 4.
No, we're not doing all these
Ooh,
different games.
you don't get to choose, Justin. That's not the rules
Yeah,
of
yeah. You
established.
don't get to. Like, here's the thing. That's the whole problem with this. Like,
Okay.
Listen,
they come in. They
I
tell
love
us
my
everything.
husband. I love Justin.
Yeah.
I am a good third party, non-biased.
No, I thought best of 3 because if we split the games, I
No,
didn't know what we would
told
do.
the crowd we're
Okay.
gonna play 2 games,
Okay,
and we're
I-
not half-assing games. This sounds like you know what this is getting back
but
to.
what happens
this-
if we each win a game? How about
back to
we
the
have
village
Connect 4
shit.
if we both win a
Okay,
game?
that's the tiebreaker.
That'll be the tiebreaker. If you win the first game, 2
Justin
out of
wins the
3,
second.
and then I win the second game, 2 out of
It's
3.
Only the tiebreaker.
That'll be
I
a
didn't
best
say
of.
we're playing 3 games. Now you made it 3 games. I just was trying to make 2 games. Then we could play Connect 4 the next week.
So it was sudden death from the get-go.
It was not anything other than just 2 games.
Listen,
Because we didn't play
Watts.
2 games.
Watts, you've
Oh,
got a lot
no.
happen tonight. I
He
think you're a
wants
little
to
behind on
catch
this.
up. He's saying they each count. So it's just 2 games because we didn't play one this
Okay,
week.
so whoever wins the first game gets on the board.
Yes.
Whoever wins the second game gets on
Yes.
the board. Okay,
I follow
fine,
you now.
fine,
I'm
fine.
sorry. I thought you meant like we were going to combine.
If you
My
guys,
bad.
If you guys would just listen to what Joyce said.
I agree with
Joe
Joe.
is right.
I agree with Joe.
Everybody
All right,
will be fine.
Justin-
I agree with
Justin
Joe.
is tired
Okay.
and he needs
Peace
to
out.
go
You don't have
extinct.
to stay here.
Peace out.
Peace out. Shut it down.
Bye, guys.
We will
We
see
gotta
you
get-
next Tuesday. We will be back in time. Check out the Village Hall meeting. We'll have it spread out across all of Facebook next
Yeah,
week.
we gotta get
Like
out-
and subscribe.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.